Lighting can be hard, especially when you need it to be soft. Hi everyone, Nate here. Recently I bought a set of GVM 1200D RGB lights. What, no review? Don't worry, I'll tell you my thoughts about them as soon as I get more work done with them out in the field. So far they're pretty badass. As you can see, I've got one firing off back behind me. Adds a little something something. But one day I asked the question, do they make soft boxes for these things or what?
They do, and for the price of $50 each, you can take one home.
Now I bought a set of 3 of these things. Well, actually, I ended up with 4, but I'll save that story for the review video. Back to the matter at hand. My brain started gnawing on the idea of making a DIY softbox for the 1200Ds. And then my brain said, you should film yourself making it too for the channel, because that's content, baby. I went to the store, grabbed a cheap shower curtain, came home, grabbed one of my lights. My goal was to see just how fast I could whip up one of these softboxes. I unfurled the shower curtain and roughly traced around the outside of one of the lights. Sure, there's technical specs that have the exact measurements of each of these lights, but math. I repeated this outlining step 4 more times for a total of 5 squares. Hey, math! Was that so hard? After outlining, I started cutting and ended up with this cross shape. Once I had that, I did a loose test to see if what I had in mind was even going to work, and it was all systems go. I did some trimming of the edges, and then in a real MVF move, I traced the cutout on an old piece of cardboard to use as a stencil for when I decide to make more of these. It was time to connect all the edges. I was going to use glue. The internet said that this glue was going to work best for this situation instead of regular super glue, as this glue stays flexible and super glue is more brittle once it dries. Having never worked with this kind of glue before, there was definitely a learning curve, and it was a frustrating experience, albeit of my own design. Eventually the glue started to hold, and now the moment of truth. My goal was for it to fit pretty snug so it would stay attached by itself. This preliminary test was a smashing success, proving that I am a genius, until I started to tilt the light at an angle. Anyway, here's a test pic I took with my phone, with Diffusion and without, before I ended up going back to the store and coming home with Velcro. I measured and cut some strips, then glued them in place. While I was at the store, I also grabbed a few pieces of felt to wrap around the outside, so this softbox didn't look quite so amateur at first glance. Please just don't stare too long. And boom, instant DIY softbox. Altogether, I spent about $10 on materials, and I could probably get one more softbox out of this if I really tried. I do want to note that I ended up putting another layer of the shower curtain inside the softbox just for a little extra diffusion. Newsflash, I've actually been using this DIY softbox on my key light during this entire video. Oh geez, that's bright. So blown out. Thus concludes Nate's great DIY softbox adventure of 2021. Have you ever made anything like this before? Let me know in the comments. Would I make another one of these? Definitely. But I will be investing in the actual GVM softboxes at some point just to have that much more professional look when I take them out to different places. All right, that's gonna do it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.